Let's see if we get anyone in. Bit of an impromptu live. I'm just checking in on my channel. See if I can actually see it. If we are live, here we go to get the chat up. Let's see if we get anyone in. Bit of an impromptu. Let's mute it. Try and move the camera a little bit so we get a straight look. Has that made it better or worse? Worse. So let's see if we get anyone in. As I say, impromptu live, Saturday night. I'm sat here, I'm about to make some pendants, so I thought, why not go live? See if we get anyone in, and let's have a bit of fun. Hopefully, anyway, if they work, they might not. Right, I've got my chat at the side of me. Hi, Heather. Hope you're doing well. So I just thought, Saturday night, I'm sat here drinking my coffee, about to make some pendants, which I haven't done a video on for a while. So I thought I'd do a video. Hey Rita, how you doing? Don't forget to share it, you know. Let's get a few more in. Let's have a bit of fun. This is just going to be a reasonably simple project. I've got some small backs, some pendant backs, as you can see. And I just want to see if I can make some nice little cabochons out of UV resin and see if it works. It might not. That is the nature of resin, as we all probably know. I've got my coffee at the side of me. I've got a UV lamp. I've got this standard jewellery mould. And I think the best size cabochons to fit in, looking at it, are going to be these ones just here. I'm hoping. So you're going to need some UV resin. You're going to need some dish soap or some washing up liquid for this technique. You're going to need some water, and you're going to need some either mica powders or something different. Now I'm going to be using these beautiful tiny turner powders from Emma Cook, the tiny turner, and you can get these from Toonpish Crafts. And I've got a brand new set here that I haven't even opened. And I'm going to try and do one of each. So that's going to be 6 of these pendants I'm going to try and make tonight. Just for a bit of fun and to see if it works. And if you've not seen it before, I'm going to attempt the bubble technique. I love the bubble technique in resin. It's one of my favourites and it's dead straightforward. Nothing too complex. So let's get these colours out first, shall we? And then we can get on with this, you know. We've got 4 in already. We've got Rita and Heather. We've got 2 others. I don't know who, because they've not said hello. So, hello you as well. And if it's your first time to the channel, do me a favour. Subscribe, you know. Growing by the day. So, comes in these beautiful colours. We've got Poison. We have got Nether, which is amazing. It's one of my favourites. Arcane as well is absolutely gorgeous. We've got Inferno, which again is one of my favourites. Nature, which is a type of green. And Ether, which is another green. So we're going to try and get a pendant, as I say, in all 6 of these. So let's make sure they can open, which they do. There's nothing worse than halfway through a project, realising you can't open the lids because they've got some sort of security tag on. But these are looking promising. And they shouldn't use a lot, guys. It doesn't take a lot of these powders. They are expensive. These are about £6 a pot and you get half a gram, which is expensive. But they're worth it. And you'll see why in a second, hopefully. So I've got these backs. This is what I'm going to be using. So I'm hopefully going to make some cabochons to just glue into these and have us some nice cheapish necklaces either on my store, online or in the shop that I have my products in. Hi Mama Coop, hope you're doing well. So I've got some UV resin and I'm going to be using just the standard Apex UV resin for this. But before I get to doing this, for the bubble technique to work, you need bubbles. Now some people use a straw, some people do all sorts. I found the easiest way. This is an old coffee jar and all I've put in there is some water. And I don't even know where I've put the lid actually. So I best grab the lid. Give me 2 seconds. And this is live, impromptu. Wasn't planned, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to go live so that we can all hopefully learn this technique together. I've done it before and it's worked, so I'm hoping it does this time. And I hope you're all having a good evening wherever you are. Yeah, I'm doing good, Mama Coop. So, first stage, water in a jar. And that's probably about a quarter full, which leaves loads of space for bubbles. Now, this is standard washing up liquid, or as you'd call it in the States, dish soap. And all I'm going to do is put a healthy amount in there. 1, 2, 3. That is more than enough, okay? You saw that? Dish soap. Washing up liquid, as we call it in the UK. Now, instead of whipping up or using a straw, watch this. Lid on. A few shakes. That is full of bubbles, ready to use. Look at that, beautiful. Take the lid off, loads of bubbles, ready to go. So there's a bit of a tip for you. So make sure you're gloved up as always. Now the first part of this technique, dead straightforward, a bit of UV resin in each of these. And I want it to go all the way around the edge as much as possible. And just a thin layer is all we need in each of these. Now this is the only technique where I'm not too fussed if I leave a couple of bubbles in there, because it isn't going to matter. All we need is a thin layer going around this cabochon mould, hopefully covering it all, like so. And you can see it's a little bit haphazard, but it should still work. You want to make sure that you've tried and got resin all over. And it's just those two I'm going to do. Hi Stormy or Nikki, I hope you're doing well. So now, don't forget, we've got these bubbles. Let's get some out. Now you only want the bubbles, you don't want the liquid. So let's put some bubbles into that cabochon. And let's get some bubbles into that cabochon. Dead straightforward so far. I hope you're following. Hi Angelina. And then I'm just going to get my UV lamp and put it on for 2 minutes, he says. If it switches on. There we go. 2 minutes. And I hope you're all having a great Saturday. And this is how I spend my Saturday evenings now, guys. This is what life has come to since I started a resin channel. So you can see, it's just curing now. It should be curing those bubbles in beautifully. And as I said, I'm going to try and make at least 6. We may go a little bit adventurous and make a few more. Who knows? We'll see how long you guys stay in this live for. We're making, Nikki, some bubble technique cabochons to go in these stainless steel backs. So I can put some chains, hopefully on my online store, because I've not listed anything on there yet. And these don't have to be overly expensive. So I'm thinking that they'll be amazing. Using some of the tiny turners. And hopefully they're going to work. I don't know, because they normally do. And the great thing is, with this UV lamp that I'm using, is it doesn't need to be plugged in. And look, you get these cool shades. So there we go. Hopefully you saw that, guys. Not the most flattering of looks, but it does protect your eyes. So, but this is just that first layer. And all you want to do for the first layer, as I say, is curing those bubbles essentially. And you're making sure there's not too much liquid. And there is always a slight delay on these lives. So I'm trying to keep up with the chat at the same time. And I think that'll be enough. It's been a minute. I think that's enough. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to scare you there, Nikki. So now what I'm doing is just going to tap off the excess bubbles, because we don't need the bubbles, with a bit of kitchen roll. So it should be completely dry then. And then all I'm going to do with these is put them back under the lamp for another 30 seconds, but you can already see those bubbles. Look, we've already got that beautiful bubble forming there, which is what's going to make these special. Now, just to dry them off, I'm going to give them another 30 seconds. And if you've never done this technique before, guys, try it. You're going to love it. Trust me. It's one of my favourites. So we got 9 in now on a Saturday night. Great. Now I've got some little micro brushes. Tiny. And these are what I'm going to use to put those powders in. And I'm pretty confident those 2 are now done. Oh, I'm glad you got yourself some of those Apex resins. I love the new one. Absolutely love it. So the first 2 colours I'm going to go for, I think I'm going to do an Inferno one, which is like a goldy orange. Hi Lula, how you doing? So this is the Inferno, and look at that for a colour. Beautiful. I say you only get half a gram in these pots, and they're not cheap. They're about £6. But a little goes a long way. So I'm just going to get one of these micro brushes. And here we go. The casting ones are great as well, Nikki. Hi Claire, how you doing? So I'm going to do some of this powder, and I'm just going to trickle it around. Shouldn't need too much. There we go, brushing it round, and that's probably far too much. But with these powders, the more you burnish them, the better the look you get. So I'm going to try and get you a closer look now. And bear in mind, I'm doing this on my living room table, guys. But you see, you're just trying to burnish it into every bubble that you've just put in with that resin. Going around every little bubble that you've just put in. And then hopefully this is what's going to give you a beautiful shine on the finished piece. So you do want to take your time at this point and just burnish. So this is that Inferno that I'm using. And there's more than enough powder in there, so just keep going around until you've got everything covered. See? Dead straightforward. And as I say, this is one of the simplest of techniques, and you get a really cool look. So there we go. That is the Inferno. I'm pretty happy that is now burnished all the way around. And now I'm just going to go around the edge of that as well, making sure that anywhere that hasn't got bubbles, hopefully, still has a little bit of this Inferno. So one more tiny bit just to go on the outside of the mould without getting it everywhere, Andy. There. And I think that is the Inferno pretty much done. And you can see that beautiful colour already starting to form. Now, it's not going to form on its own. So that's the Inferno. Going to do another colour as well for these first 2. Oh, I hope that flu jab's going all right. I'm just doing some bubble technique, little cabochons to go in these little necklace backings is what we're doing. So that's the first one. Let's do one of these greens. Let's go with Ether. And as I say, I'm going to make all 6 of these, hopefully. Depends if you guys want to see all 6, and it depends if you want to stay here for that length of time. So again, I'm just going to use this beautiful green Ether, getting some of the powder on the end of my brush, same as we did with that first one, and just going around the whole mould, hopefully burnishing into each and every one of those bubbles. Yeah, I'm thinking about getting a flu jab for the first time this year, Claire, because last year it really got me. And it doesn't normally, but I think it's because I'm back in an office with people that are poorly more often than not. And unfortunately, that means that you catch those bugs. So this is that Ether, guys. And again, doing exactly the same as we did with the first one, just burnishing it round. Every one of those bubbles, you want to make sure that you've burnished it well in, and then it should work. So there we go. Dead straightforward. I hope you're following along, and I hope there's nothing too complex at this point. So there we go. That's those 2. Now for the next stage, what I've done is I've pre-mixed some UV resin with some black alcohol ink. What else are we going to do better than you? Well, I'm glad you enjoy it anyway, Nikki. There we go. So there's those 2. Now, I've got some pre-mixed UV resin with black, and it's because I do these quite frequently, guys. So look at that, it's quite thick. All it is UV resin and some alcohol ink. Now the key is here, for it to cure, you've got to do thin layers. If you do it too thick, it won't work, because it just won't cure, because black doesn't like curing. And I'm really hoping these work. Hi Wendy, nice to have you. I should get some black UV resin. It'll make my life a lot easier, Lula. But I haven't got any, so this is what we're going to use for now. So a thin little bit. And I'm just going to go enough to cover the whole of this mould. Because don't forget, these are going in cabochons anyway. So they're going to be backed. So I'm not even fussed if the whole thing comes out black or not. Because what I'm going to do afterwards is fill it with clear. So this is really just to really make those tiny turner powders really pop. So again, a little bit of black in each of them. And as I say, it doesn't matter how neat I am either, as long as I'm covering it at this point, so that all of these beautiful tiny turner powders are covered in this black UV resin. And this is quite dark actually. I'm hoping I mixed it right. We're going to find out one way or another. So here we go. Pretty confident I've now covered all of those bubbles in both of them with that black. So now it's just going to go under the UV lamp for this time, I think 5 minutes just to be safe, he says. Oh, put it on 8. There's 5 minutes. So we're just going to cure those now. 5 minutes. Oh, we got Lisa as well. Hello, Lisa. I hear you had a good night at bingo last night. So, and I'm actually feeling really productive today, guys. I've managed to get 3 videos edited. You don't know how happy that makes me. So again, I'm just going to move this lamp to make sure that it's ultra focused now. Haven't they? Yes, they have, Lula. But the reason why is just, you know, this screw here. Some people were complaining that this was too floppy. And I said, watch my video back. All you need to do is tighten that screw and it's perfect. Look, it's not flopping at all. So I'm still using it. But yeah, apparently they had complaints about this being too floppy. And all you have to do is use the screwdriver and tighten that screw. Perfect. So I've not sent mine back yet, because I don't think there's a fault with them. I just think people need to tighten that screw. So what's everyone been pouring today? Can you believe we've got 16 in on an impromptu live? Crazy. And I had some good news today, actually. I went to the shop and another piece has sold. One of my key rings has sold. So only 2 pieces so far, though, in 2 weeks. So I think I'm going to have to focus some more time on my website rather than relying on the shop. Because I think the shop at the minute won't even cover the amount I'm paying to rent a table. So there we go. But I think that should be reasonably cured now. Even with it being black, I'm pretty confident that's cured. So what I'm going to do now, because as I say, these are going in backs anyway, I don't need to completely fill these with black. So what I'm going to do is just fill them to the top. Look, perfect. And I'm going to do it with clear now. Just to make sure these are completely full. Here we go, all the way to the top. Hopefully not leaving a gap. because I want to make sure they're relatively flat for when I glue them into these backs. Beautiful. And then I can cure those, hopefully. Oh dear, sorry to hear that, Lisa. Hope you're doing all right. So this is those first two. And then we're going to use the old H2O technique to make sure they're fully cured in a minute as well. Otherwise known as the water curing technique. Which actually this lamp is really useful for. But I suppose any two-sided would work as well. It's not just this one. God, we've got 18 in on a Saturday night impromptu live. Thanks for being here, everyone. And I hope you're enjoying this quick video. Well, not really a quick video. It probably would be a quicker video to do on a video. This is a strange one, but I'm doing it live, so at least you know, if it all goes horribly wrong, we've done it live. Hi, Cheryl. Hope you're doing well. And we're on my living room table today because I've got something else curing on my workspace. Almost there, I think. And then I'm going to finish these off and water cure them. Let's hope they've worked for a start. I've not done this technique for a while. They're better. That'd be embarrassing, wouldn't it, on a live if they didn't work? Wouldn't be the first time though, let's be honest. We have had accidents on a live before where things haven't worked. But I'm pretty confident now. They've had about another 2 or 3 minutes. They should be cured enough now to go into the water, I think. They look cured. Oh, they're looking good on the other side as well. So, now what I'm going to do is just flip it round. And this is just water in this pot. And then I'm going to demold straight into the water. So this is the green one. In it goes. This is the Inferno. Now, do I make you wait until the end and then we do all 6? Or do we look at these 2 now? What do you think? Hey, DJ. Hot and humid Houston and Texas. Sounds great. Oh, I love fairy houses. Here's one I carved, Lula, with a little squirrel on. And a window. And an owl. It's one of my fairy houses. And then I'll grab you my favourite one if I can get it out the windowsill. Didn't even know I'd be getting these out. Oh wow, the spiders like it. Look at that. With a little baby bear in it. And an owl and a window again. Carved out of a log, that was. So cool. Anyhow, very dusty. What I might do is actually cover those in resin to help just keep the dust away. So, that's those 2. I'm pretty confident they're done now. Shall we have a look at these before we move on to the other 4? Or shall we just do the other 4 and have a look at them all at the end? What do you think? I'll go with what the majority say. Just going to move them around. I think they are going to be pretty. Shall we do the other 4? What do you think? Look now. Let me put the fairy house on the windowsill. I'm glad you like it, Nikki. What, we're going to go do all 4. Let's do the other 4 and then we can look at all 6 at the same time. It shouldn't take too long. You've seen the technique now, so hopefully it shouldn't. Anyway, so let's switch this back off and I'm going to try and do these a little bit quicker because you've already seen the technique. If that's all right. So I'm just going to clean these out because I don't want these tiny turners to be intermixed. So we've got 2 colours. We've still got 4 to go, guys. So again, same process, cleaning out the mould with a wipe. Okay, you can see the technique again, Lula. Just for you. So, there is water and washing up liquid in this empty coffee jar. Give it a good shake, and it creates bubbles. You see? Loads of beautiful little bubbles. A lot easier than blowing them with a straw or mixing. Voila. Lots of bubbles. So that is that. And this is just for you now, Lula, if you want to see the technique again. UV resin into this mould. Enough to hopefully cover it initially. But you don't want to overfill it. You just want enough to go all the way around the cabochon mould. And don't worry about bubbles at this point, because guess what? We're trying to put bubbles in. There we go. So that is UV resin in there. Now, get some bubbles out of your pot and put them in each one. Hopefully enough to cover it, like so. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Just make sure there's enough bubbles in there covering all those sides. Then get your lamp and cure for a sec. Come on. There we go. It's the first technique you ever try. It's so simple, but it's so beautiful. So for these 2, I'm going to use, let's go with Nether. And let's do the poison, shall we? Literally all you're doing here is probably 30 seconds or so just to cure that resin with those beautiful bubbles in. Get some kitchen roll ready. And it only takes literally 30-40 seconds. Hi Frosty, hope you're doing well. So there we go. As you can see, let's take the excess bubbles out. So it's reasonably dry, and you can see those bubbles have cured in there. Never going to be perfect. I mean, it could be if you spent a lot more time on it than I do. But that's it. Now I'm just going to put it back under there to dry it off. There is a delay. It's about a 5 to 10 second delay. Which is annoying, but hey ho. Now all I'm going to do, let's lift that up, is get some powders and put them in. Dead straightforward. So let's go with the poison first. Let's try and use one that I haven't used before. And then you're just going to burnish it into each of those bubbles. Doesn't take a lot, couple of dots worth. And if you've got any parts of your mould that you haven't covered in bubbles, that's where you want to focus most of your powder. Because these bubbles don't take a lot to fill. And then I'm just moving the little brush all the way around so that it's hopefully burnishing in each of those bubbles, because that's where you'll get the real effect, in the bubbles, not in the rest. And the more you burnish with these powders, the better the effect. And this is just me doing it quite quickly, if I'm being honest. I'm not taking an awful lot of care and time on it, but I just want to make sure there's enough powder in there to burnish each of these bubbles and hopefully give me some good coverage. There we go. Happy with that, I think. Do, do, do. And I love this community, you know. Whenever I do a live, it doesn't matter when it is, you guys turn up. You know? It's amazing. So there's that one. Let's get another one of these micro brushes and let's use the Nether in the other one. And the bubbles haven't worked as well in there. I can see a gap. So what am I going to do? I can see where I've completely missed the side. So I want to put... Oh, Alexa's telling me it's time for bed. I'm an adult Alexa. I can do what I want. So I'm just going to put some more bubbles over that side bit where I can see it missed. And hopefully we'll still get some. And it's only because I'm doing this live now that I'm doing this. I probably wouldn't have done that normally. I'd have just left it. You're making me get better with my resin, people. There we go. So I'm pretty happy. Again, we've seemed to have that gap at that side. It doesn't want to create bubbles there now. We will see what happens. Anyhow, I think it's because it cured it without the bubbles. So this is going to be a bit darker. As long as we get some of these tiny turners on, it shouldn't really matter. Because it will still cover beautifully, hopefully. And then we'll just have a slightly different effect in this one. But I can live with that. As you can see, again, use the powder off the lid as well on these. Because as I say, it is expensive stuff. Last thing you want to do is waste any. You just want to make sure that you're covering as much of that cabochon as you can. And then try and burnish it into each one of these bubbles to give you a bit of a shine. Do, do, do. And I'm really hoping these actually work, guys. Because I haven't done it for a while. And I don't think I've ever done it on a live. So it's going to be interesting. There we go. So that's the powders. Now, as I did last time, I just want a tiny bit of black. Because that really makes these powders pop. Make sure you get your lids on the right ones, guys. Like I've just done wrong there. Don't want to mix them up. Although that might be an interesting experiment one day. It's actually mixing them up. So that is the Arcane. Imagine mixing these powders to see what colours we get then. That would be interesting. And that one is the Nether. So then we should have, for the last two, I think we've got... In fact, no, that was poison, wasn't it? So we've done poison and we've done Nether. So we've got Arcane and Nature to do last. I'm getting all mixed up tonight. I agree, Frosty. The resin community is by far the best. Most friendly, most helpful, just nice people who want to help each other. So again, just a drop of this UV resin mixed with alcohol ink in both of these. I'm going to cover this one first. Now this one I think is going to have a bit of a black where we didn't get the bubbles in, but that's okay. And you're just scraping it around to cover all of those bubbles where you've just put the powder. That's it. Only needs to be a thin layer. Doesn't need to be thick because I am going to fill these with clear because they are going to get backed. So literally just going all the way around with that black. And just a thin coat is enough to make these colours pop. Hopefully. And again, the key is whenever you use a black, unless you're using a ready mixed one, is just don't do it too thick. If you do it too thick, it won't cure and you'll have a UV resin liquidy, gooey mess. And trust me, I've been there many a time when I've done resin. There we go. Pretty happy. All those powders are now covered in that black. I'm just going to cure it for a minute. Maybe 2. Lula poison? Do we need to hide the pigment powder? Yeah, it's probably worth hiding. So I think we've done Ether, we've done Inferno, now we're doing Poison and Nether, then we're going to do Arcane and Nature. And I've run out of coffee. Oh dear, what's going off? I don't think we'll get to the end of this live. And can you believe we've got 21 in? So I hope you're all having a great weekend. I love wicker as well. I've not got that one out though, Lula. It's like a goldy green. It is beautiful. We could always get some more out of my drawer and do the other colours. I've got the holographic set as well. But the purpose of this was just to show people the technique, if they're around, to do a bit of a live. Do. Right, so now that's had about a minute, I'm just going to fill it with clear. Because, as I said, I am going to back these, so it doesn't really matter about the thickness of the black. All it matters is that there is that thin covering. And then I want this to be filled all the way to the top with each of them, so I get a nice flat back to glue. Nothing worse than not having a flat back. And don't forget, your UV resin does shrink a little bit when it cures. And I've just noticed that little drip in between. I'm going to wipe that off before I cure. Goodbye. There we go. Now we're going to cure it for a little bit longer. There we go. Hi Resin Eater, hope you're doing well. Hi Susie, hope you're doing well as well. We're just doing some simple bubble technique pendants to show people that process. Dead straightforward, nothing to worry about. We've done 2. Hi Michelle, we've got another 2 curing now, and I'm going to do another 2. Oh wow. Well, actually, Susie, I've just been thinking, I've edited the rest of my videos for October now. So I need to start thinking November's videos really have to be Christmas related. November and December have to be, well, you've managed to get to this one, Resin Eater. So yeah, I think November's videos, there's going to be a lot of Christmas ornaments on there. And that's all I'm saying. I might have to order a few new molds. I don't know. But there's definitely going to be lots of Christmas ornaments. I know, you're crazy, Lula, doing 13 days of Halloween makes. Crazy. Although I've just done a really cool Halloween video up today that I've edited. Christmas order's on its way. If anybody wants any custom ornaments, let me know. I'm sure I can make some. In fact, I might do this technique in some baubles. I've got some Let's Resin small bauble molds. I think this technique would look really cool. Actually, on a bauble itself. I mean, I think it's going to look really cool on these pendants, but I'm just thinking it could look... Oh, you've got some intoresin ones, Nikki. Amazing. I'm actually thinking of breaking the bank and trying a couple from Molds and Shapes, because they've got some cool Christmas ornaments as well. Or I might just raid Temu and see what I can get from there. Probably get 100 molds for the price of one. Right, I think, let's just have a look. They feel cured. So again, I'm just going to switch it off. Oh, have I got both lit? Nope, because I've pushed the power button. Hang on. Yes, I have. So now we're going to water cure these as well. Just take that off. Move this to the side. Put the water in there. And demold these two straight into there. Here we go. Then give it a bit of a stir around so they've all been stirred. And that's 4. Now for the last 2, if you've not frozen here. Did I freeze? Sorry about that, guys. Hopefully I'm back. Okay, let's adjust this back up. And then we're going to do the last 2 colours that I've got out. Did you see the moon there? No. Make sure. So we're just making some bubble technique pendants to hopefully go in these backs that I've got out. And I just wanted to make 6 to test out the 6 different chameleon tiny turner powders that I got from Toonpish. And see what they look like in this bubble technique. So I'm just giving my mould a wipe before we go on with the next 2. Discount code? What's that for? What, Lula, have you got one for moulds and shapes now as well? Wow. Love that plink plink into the water. Yeah, it is a great sound. And these are going to be the last 2 that we're going to do for this video anyway. I might stay up all night and do a few more. But I don't think you'd want to stay on alive all night with me making different pendants. So, if you missed the first video, or the first part of this video, and you're just tuning in now, just giving the mould a wipe because I want to make sure that these are clean. Just using a baby wipe. Voila. Okay. So, again, just to reiterate, in this jar, I've got water and dish soap, or washing up liquid, as we call it in the UK. Shake it up, you get loads of bubbles. Bit of clear UV resin, just enough to cover the sides. And try and make sure it goes as much around the sides as you can, as well as in the front. Because any gaps you've got, you're not going to get bubbles in. Simple as that. I'm pretty happy that they're reasonably evenly covered. Then we're going to get some bubbles in each of those. In you go. And some in that one as well. And these are going to be the last 2 we're going to make on this live. Just because really this is about showing you guys the technique, not making hundreds. Then we're going to cure that for like 30 seconds. Oh, Claire's discount code, okay. Well, they know who I am, Lula, but unfortunately, I've not got a discount code for them yet. Yeah, I am going to have to, I think, try and bite the bullet and order a few just to test their moulds out, because I really want to try a few of them. And I know they do quite a few at Christmas time as well, which are really cool. No, they're not. I think they're based in Denmark. I was told that, Mary Beth, but I was also... The reason why there has been a recall on this light is people were complaining that this was too floppy. All you needed to do was tighten up that screw in there and it works perfectly. So I've not sent mine back yet. Oh, Netherlands. Okay, I thought it was Denmark. There we go. Now this one, I've done a little bit too thick. I don't like the look of that. So I'm going to take them out. Yep, don't like them. And we're going to do them again. Because there wasn't enough bubbles. And that's the thing, you can look at it and decide whether or not you like it. If you don't like it, do it again. And you've not wasted a lot of resin at that point, because all you're doing is covering the sides. Like so. It's raining, it's windy, it's UK at the minute where I am. We've got Storm Amy causing absolute havoc. And I think the reason that time it didn't work so well is it was still warm from the last ones, but we'll see. Yeah, it's raining and it's very, very windy. Very windy. Storm Amy is certainly having fun. Look at these like bubbled up contact lenses. What do you think? Just try and stick them in my eye. That's a joke, by the way. Look, like bubbled up little contact lenses. Yeah. I'm going to save those and probably still do something with them. Look at them. Ooh. So there's those. I just didn't like them. I didn't think there was enough bubbles in them for me. I know the creator. Well, they've asked me to send it back, but I've said all I had to do was tighten the screw, Mary Beth, so it is what it is. They haven't sent me a returns label or anything, so there we go. Now that one's looking better, not that one. Strange how it was working so well. I don't know, actually. That one could be okay. Let's just go for it. Let's get these colours in there and let's see what happens. I'm going to do that one with the green because I'm not a big fan of the green. So let's go with the purple. And once they're done, if there's any I don't like, I don't have to use them. But actually, sometimes the partial bubble effect is really cool. Because you get part bubble and part not, and it's almost like the bubbles have naturally formed out of nothing. So again, just going to burnish this powder in all of those bubbles. Do, 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 do. It's not like Wales to be windy, Lula. There we go, I'm pretty happy. That's going all the way around that mould. Now I'm just burnishing it into a few of these bubbles to give them an extra shine. And I think these two are going to give us a slightly different look as well, guys, to the others. But that's okay. Norway took a major hit with the storm as well. She's getting around, Amy. She's getting everywhere. And this is Nature as the last one, which looks really cool on a frog, by the way. If you like doing your frogs, try Nature. And it's a beautiful green. If you like green. I'm not the biggest fan of green, but it's still a nice colour. And actually in these tiny turners, I can live with it. So burnishing it all the way around, and I'm pretty confident that is now covered everywhere. And then we're going to get the black. What's positive? Oh. Right, so a bit of the black again in that one. And a bit of the black in the green. all the way around. Thin coat is all you need. Here we go, all the way around again. And these are going to be the last two that we're going to do on this live. So again, I'm just going to cure them now. Couple of minutes. I've got a bit of a plum tree in my garden from the last time we had bad wind, where a branch came off and I had to chop it off. But the way it's broken is really cool, and I'm thinking about incorporating that into a resin and wood piece. So hopefully I can get around to that. It's probably going to be next summer now because it needs to dry out, but that's going to be cool, hopefully. Never throw away any wood. But yeah, be safe out there as well, everyone, with this storm. It is what she said, Lula. So again, just trying to do it with the black for a couple of minutes, and then I'm going to fill it again all the way with clear. And then we're going to see if any of them have worked. I'm hoping they have. Otherwise, we've just wasted the best part of an hour of our time listening to me talk. 22 of us in as well. I really hope these work now. Otherwise, I'm going to be embarrassed. I'll never be able to show my face on YouTube again. Okay, so that's the black cured. And now just filling them all the way to the top with some clear. And again, whenever you're doing this and you are going to be putting them into a backing, you want to try and make sure they're filled all the way to the top. It just makes gluing it a lot easier. There we go. And now giving these a full cure. 5 minutes. I do for some reason. Oh, thank you very much, Stormy. There's no need to do that. Really isn't. Yeah, I haven't done it with pet ashes, Resin Ether, but I have done it with human ashes. Hang on a second. Let's see if I can get you a piece. So this is a memorial piece that I did for my sister. And in that heart there are some of her ashes. And it stays above a doorway in my home so that I know that she's always looking over me. So in that heart in the centre, it's got glitter as well, but it's also got some of her ashes, as well as those clouds and those wings. And you can guess what her name was. But yeah, that way she's always with me, you know. And memorial pieces can mean a lot. Just means that somebody is always, I suppose, part of them's always going to be with you. Now I can storm team me for some molds. I can, yeah. Oh, I'm glad you like it, Frosty. Thanks, Resin Ether. And again, go back and watch the video if you want to see how I made it. There is a video on it. I don't know what number it is because I don't number my videos, but I'm thinking maybe I should number them because there's always moments like this where it would save you having to look back through all of my videos. But if you just search on my channel for memorial, I think it's the only video that I've done as a memorial piece. So again, have a look. It was emotional, Michelle, to be honest. I still need to take the rest of her ashes abroad, actually, because I've said that the reason I had some of her ashes was I grew up abroad in Hungary, and that's where she was at her happiest. So I've said 1 year. It's not going to be this year because I'm going to Turkey in about a week. But hopefully next year I'm going to arrange to go back to Hungary and spread her ashes there in the Danube. Because that's for me where she was happiest. So that is the plan with those. And I'm pretty confident they're cured as well. So let's plonk those into the water. Get ready for that satisfying sound again, Frosty. Just take the tray off, it makes it a little bit easier. Like so. And then let's demold these straight into the water. 1, 2. And that's it. I'm going to stir them around a little bit so they can make sure that they're fully water cured. You said the plink plink. All right, not the plop plop. Oh, there we go. So, let's hope these have worked and I've got something to actually show you. Because if not, it's going to be a strange video. And I think some of these will have worked better than others. I don't know why, because I did the same technique you saw on all of them. And I think some of them I'm going to love and some of them I'm not. So I'm going to go empty this water out in the sink and I'll be right back. Just going to get a microfiber cloth as well. Let's hope they're not sticky. Oh, that would be embarrassing. And I've just realised I'm still live. You guys can hear everything I'm saying. Right, let's put these on here. And what I like to do, once I've got them out of the water, is instead of drying them off too much... Oh, God, that one does look weird. I like to put them back under the UV lamp on the tray, which I've moved out of the way. Where did I put the tray? I moved it somewhere, guys. Ah, okay. So this is just something I like to do to fully dry them off before I use the microfiber towel. Just put them on the tray, and we will look at these in a second. Yeah, it's where you can give things like super chats. You don't feel obliged to by any stretch of the imagination, but you can give what they call super chats, which is just your way of supporting the channel a little bit. But don't feel obliged to, please. This is just me, hopefully teaching you guys, and all of us having a bit of fun, you know, on a Saturday night. Right, dry my hands off. And I think we've got some cool effects. I'm looking now underneath. What's the difference in chat and stickers? Well, there's not. You can chat as much as you like, but the creators don't get paid for it. The only time they do that is if you push the $sign, and I think if you give us, I think they call it a super chat, guys. Don't know. I probably should know. So what I'm going to do is actually put these, I think, in the backs before I show you. Ooh. And I use the E6000 Plus. And all I'm going to do is put a blob in the centre, and that should be enough to secure it. Don't need too much. And whenever you use this E6000 glue, guys, remember it does take 24 hours to fully cure. And let's hope I got the right size. I think I did for these backs. So that is one. Going to put that there for a second. And we're going to see what effect we got and whether we like it. We might not. Tray from the Let's Resin lamp. Nope. It's not. Mine comes with the double-sided lamp. I have got a tray from a Let's Resin lamp. But this one came with the dual-sided resiners lamp. Right, put that one there as well. Do, 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 do. Why have I got that song in my head today? Don't know. Little blob. Don't be too stingy with your glue either, because there's nothing worse. Let's say I sold one of these pieces and the pendant fell out. I wouldn't have a very happy customer. So again, just press it in. I think that one is going to be my favourite. Oh, thank you very much, Resin Eater. Appreciate you. But again, don't feel obliged to. It is a great support though, and every penny I earn off the channel, in one way or another, goes back to back into the channel. Thank you very much. Hopefully it means that you're liking the content. Either that or you just throw money away. Appreciate it. Right, last two blobs of glue. Ooh. And I used to use, so before I started using this glue, I used No More Nails. Can you believe it? It's Anita. Oh, brilliant. Now we know. Nice to meet you, Anita. And if you didn't know, I don't know whether you follow the channel that much, but if you didn't know, we do lives every Tuesday where we get to meet a new resin artist every Tuesday. And next Tuesday, we've got Jessica on from Flow Art by Jessica, who some of you may have heard of. She's got quite a following. So that's going to be interesting. I'm not having only 80 away from 10,000. I know, it's so close. Share the channel. Let me get to that 10,000. It's probably going to happen when I'm on holiday. I predicted this with Lisa. I said it's going to happen when I'm in Turkey. And I'm going to Turkey next Monday. Just for 6 nights to relax. And it's probably going to happen when I'm there. So let's get my lid back on this glue, and then I'm going to show you guys what we've made. Get you to 10k too? Well, we'll have to get you back on another live, Lula. There we go. Right, who wants to look at these? Who wants to see what we've got? I think we've got some interesting pieces. Let's get something black, because I think it will show them off better. All right, back of this notepad will do. So, let's have a look. Any requests on which colour first? Susie, get on the show. We'll get you past 20. I'm confident of that. Right, let's have a look. What did we do? We've got 6 of these. So we've got let's just show you. This is the poison. Hopefully you can see. In fact, I'm going to come round. So this was that beautiful poison in that bubble technique. Hopefully you can see. Really cool technique. Just those bubbles with those tiny Turner powders. There's that one. Which one's next? Let's get Nether, which was this one. I think that was no, that wasn't. That was the Arcane, actually. Again, slightly different. Look at that. Beautiful. Just those bubbles. I just think it's so cool. And it's like nothing else for me, the bubble technique. I just think it's really, really cool. And I did pick the right size for these backs, which is good. There's that one. Now, let's do the one that came out a little bit weird, shall we, next? I don't know why, because I did the same technique, but we didn't get as many bubbles in. And this was that Nature. But I still like it. Oh, so we just got the bubbles in the centre on that one. Ah, beautiful. It does look like something from space, you're right. Now, this is going to be my favourite, I think, because it's one of my favourite colours in the Tiny Turner range, which is Inferno. You ready for this? Wow. Now, that is perfect. For me, that is the perfect bubble technique. Perfect coverage, even coverage with different size bubbles all the way from one edge to the other. And look at the difference between them two. That one, I don't think I'd ever try and sell. That one, I would, because it's perfect. Look at it. That's that one. We've got two more yet. So this is the other green one, which is the darker one, which was Ether, which is almost a turquoisey blue-green. You like the green one. So maybe I should try and sell it then. What do you think? And they're all so different, these colours from Tiny Turner. And this was just the 6 set of chameleons. And then this is the darker purple, which is the Nether, which is, I think, my favourite of the purples. Look at that. And we made them all live. Look at that. 6 very different pendants. All done with that bubble technique, all slightly different. Now, the Inferno one, I think, is still my favourite. That orange one there. Beautiful piece. Which one's your favourite, guys? Let me know. But yeah, just a quick project. Well, quick. We've been here an hour, I think. So the poison. But yeah, all very different colours. You like the dark green the most? Look at that. Beautiful. So tell me what, guys. Would you, if you saw these in a shop, in fact, let me show you what it would look like in a box, shall we? This is how I typically present my jewellery. Now, if it's cheaper pieces like this, I'd normally just use one of these corded chains that you get in packs from Temu. In fact, I probably shouldn't put them on yet because they're not dried. It takes 24 hours to dry, but I just want to show you guys what I do. So let's say this one, I think a yellow one would look nice. And then I'm going to show you how I actually package them, because I do try and take care when I present stuff. It might surprise some of you, given the mess on my workstation sometimes. But I want you to give me an idea. And I want you to tell me, if you saw this in a shop, what you think it's worth. And again, be honest. Now, sometimes I do them on metal chains if they're more expensive pieces. But I think for these, I think one of these fabricy fake leather type chains is enough. And this is probably how I would package it. So I'm intrigued now. So here we go. This is how I typically package my jewellery. Look at that. In a little box, looks pretty. And then look. So if you saw that in a shop, what do you think's a fair price? Give me an idea. I'm just intrigued. You saw that in a shop. What do you think would be a fair price for that little piece of jewellery? I'm glad you think it's cute. That's typically how I try and package them for the shop. $20, okay. Says Mama. 5 to 15, okay. 18, says Nerd. 6 to 9, or $6.99. $25. I was thinking £20 in this packaging. I was thinking 15 if it was just in a clear bag. It would cost more with a chain. So I do also do them with chains usually, but obviously they cost more. I've got darker cords as well. 25. But that's the problem. Everyone's got different tastes. So there are darker cords that I use as well. Let me show you guys. So I've got black as well, which I sometimes use, which are just these cords, which are the black ones. But I've also got the chains, but the chains are more expensive to buy. And that's the thing. I don't think people want to pay for something with a chain, with resin. I don't think they see it as valuable. But that's the thing. I mean, I would be very happy if I got, I don't know, £20 for those. I think that would give me a bit of a profit and pay for the time that it takes to make them, you know. Even this, you know, you saw tonight, it took an hour just to make those 6. But I have got the black ones as well. So again, I could always do black, or I've got some dark brown ones as well, which I quite like. Let me show you those. But these are the types of chains that I normally use. These silver snake rope chains. But I don't think people want to pay for those because they're not cheap. So again, I've got these brown ones, the dark brown leather ones, which I think look really cool, especially with colourful ones. So let me show you that. It's very rare I use those coloured ones because they're normally, I think, tailored more at kids. So normally I use the brown or the black ones. Let me show you what it looks like with a brown one, shall we? I've got to remember that these aren't fully dried yet. But I think the brown, for me, it's just a bit more grown up, if that makes sense. In you go. So this is the brown leather cord, or leatherette. I don't think it is actual leather. And personally, that's probably what I would use for something like this. My bigger pendants, where I do the Petrie and stuff like that, I use the metal chains for. And I try and get sort of 25 to 30 on those. But they just don't seem to sell. This is the brown one. What do you think? I think it's a bit classier than the coloured ones. Thanks, Heather. Yeah, people don't spend much around here either. But what you don't realise, I hire half a table in a shop. That costs me £72 a month. And they get 25% commission on every piece. Now, some of the shops in Nottingham charge 40% commission, which is crazy when you're having to pay rent on top. So this is the thing. I think I need to start focusing on the website more for things like this. So it allows people to just see the piece and buy something like this for around £20 plus shipping. What do you think? Would you think that would sell? Would you buy something like this for £20 plus shipping? Let me know. Because it is expensive, but that's what you get for being in Nottingham. It's an expensive part of the city, and that's why they charge so much. Yeah, that's the other thing I considered, is just doing the pendants and just selling the pendants without a chain. Yeah, I get it, Nikki, but again, you've got to weigh it up. And I have sold a few pieces, don't get me wrong, but just not a lot. And I'm wondering, if it is the price point, or if people just don't really buy resin jewellery. But again, yeah, that's the thing. If I'm paying £72 to rent a table, half a table that is, not a full table, and they're getting 25% commission off every piece. Let's say something sells for £20. They're getting £5, plus I'm paying rent on top of that, plus the cost of the original items. Let's say a £5, plus the time invested. You're lucky if you're coming out with £2 or £3 a piece. You'd buy just the pendant alone for $20. Okay. Well, it's making me think, so thank you for that. You give me a few ideas. And maybe I could have an option on the website. I need to go full power on the marketing. I've got lots of key rings as well. So again, I need to focus on that website, I think, over the next month or so. Get more pieces on there so that you guys can hopefully buy them if you like them. But actually market myself more rather than relying on a shop, I think, is the general feedback. So I thank you for that. And I didn't think I was overpricing them at sort of anywhere between 20 and the more expensive, bigger ones that I do on the metal chains. I'm just trying to see if I've got one. I haven't got one to hand, but they're the bigger ones like this, where it's got something like the Petrie effect in. And some of those I try and sell for around about £30 with a metal chain with a big metal back. They don't. They think they're mass produced. That is the problem. You know, and that's the thing. They're not. Each one is individually made. And I think that's what people don't realise. That's what you're paying for, you know. Craft fairs in the UK cost a fortune. It's like £150 to hire a table in some of the craft fairs. And that's a lot of resin to sell before you make any money back. So I've thought about it. Because obviously at the minute my living room is just filling up with resin, which is great in some ways. It gives me a lot to look at. But eventually I need to start selling stuff. Hi, RC Doodles. I get it. Yeah, it's just one of those things. I think, and don't get me wrong, I think I'm not in this to make a fortune at all. If I could one day make a living from it, brilliant. But I don't think I will. I think it's always going to just be a hobby. And I think, you know, it'd be great to get to the point where it pays for itself one day. And that's what I'm sort of aiming for. Wow. Well, at least you pay a tenner. That's cheap, Michelle. The proper craft fairs that I've looked at in Nottingham, it's anywhere between £100 and £150, which is excessive, I think. If they gave a lot of marketing for it, you wouldn't necessarily mind. But again, I don't think you get a lot of marketing there. But yeah. So I'm going to start focusing more on the website, I think, is the general feedback, and getting more pieces listed on there. I even thought about doing 1 or 2 auctions a week on eBay, where I just start them at 99p and see where they go. True. I need to find a celebrity to endorse them. Beyonce, if you're watching, let me know. I'll send you a pendant. You can wear it. You never know. It could happen. Aim high. That's what I say. Maybe send one to the Queen and see if I can get... well, the King, sorry, and see if I can get his approval. What do you think? Maybe make him some cufflinks. Yeah, I might do some of the smaller ones, but again, it's the time. And I think actually I'll be better off focusing that time on the website. But no, thank you everyone for being here. I really appreciate it. We've been here for well over an hour. I'm going to close this live out now. But I hope you enjoyed watching how we made these beautiful bubble technique UV pendants together. And you know what? I'm going to make sure I list these on my website over the next week. So they are going to get listed. If anybody wants them, let me know. Or send me an email. If you're interested in one of those, send me an email. You know, if you're happy with 20 quid, I'll do it for 20 quid. Let me know. You've got my email address. And if you want one, let me know. You've seen them made. So I'm glad you enjoyed it. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Yeah, don't forget, I've also had a video come out tonight, which was that neon Petri effect, which was amazing when I finally got that down. So go back and watch that. And if I don't see you beforehand, I'll see you all on Tuesday. You know, it's going to be great. We're going to have Jessica on from, I always forget how she says it. Flow Art by Jessica. There we go. On the show. So that's going to be fun. And I'll see you all soon. Thanks for being here. Bye-bye.